All right, more of the scrapbook here. Looks like more about Reagan. Ronald Reagan. All right. This would take a very, very, very long time. Many, many videos if I read every article. So maybe with some of them, like I did previously, I just read like the titles of the articles, the headlines, or okay. So there's um there's this article here that just says Reagan tackled comedy and drama. So yeah, he was an actor, but I don't recall ever seeing any of his movies. But it would be interesting to see some of his old movies someday. Yeah, he was in westerns. All right, and okay, so then there's this photo down here. Looks like Ronald Reagan and uh, Gorbachev. Gorbachev. Looks like it's still George Gorbachev, but I think it's Gorbachev. I always remember it being pronounced Gorbachev. Okay, so says President Ronald Reagan Wright shakes hands with Mikhail Gorbachev after the two leaders signed a treaty during a ceremony in the White House East Room in Washington, D.C. in December 1987. Ugh, my head's getting sweaty. All right, there's some more, and then I have some more quotes. Some quotes right here. All right. This quote is by former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Okay, it says Ronald Reagan had a higher claim than any other leader to have won the Cold War for liberty, and he did it without a shot being fired. Cold War. Yeah, I saw a headline online, um, something about Russia. There was a Russian ship that felt threatened. Something about a shot being fired. Like I didn't see anything about anyone getting hurt or anything, but it was like a defensive shot or like a warning shot. Something with a Russian ship uh, against a UK ship, I think it was. So they said this type of thing hadn't happened since the Cold War. It sounded kind of serious. I don't know what's going on with Russia. So this is the date right now. It's June 23rd, 2021, and it's 6:45 p.m. Okay, here's another quote, and this is by George H.W. Bush. It says, "We had been political opponents and became close friends. Barbara and I mourn the loss of a great president and, for us, a great friend." Okay, here's another. Um, there's a couple more quotes here by local people. I can say these are local. These are people that live in my town. I'm going to just skip that. They're not famous. All right. Here is a photo of Ronald Reagan when he was young. It says Ronald Reagan poses in his lifeguard uniform. Lifeguard? Is that what I said? Let's start over. Ronald Reagan poses in his lifeguard uniform in the summer of his sophomore year at Eureka College in Peoria, Illinois in 1931. That was a long time ago. It's funny, it says Eureka College. He went to Eureka College. I've been rewatching my Eureka, the show that was on Sci-Fi. I've been rewatching my Eureka DVDs. Good show. All right. Well, okay, so there's highlights of Reagan's presidency, and it's got dates all down here. I'm gonna go through that. November 4th, 1980. Reagan defeats Democratic incumbent Jimmy Carter for presidency. January 20th, 1981, sworn in as 40th president. March 30th, 1981, wounded by one of 6 shots fired as he left a Washington hotel after giving a speech. June 7th, 1981, announces the nomination of Arizona Judge Sandra Day O'Connor to become the U.S. Supreme Court's first female justice. August 1981, fires more than 11,000 air traffic controllers after they walk out on a strike against the Federal Aviation Administration. 1982, despite Monroe Doctrine's warnings against European forays in the Western Hemisphere, Reagan backs Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher in Britain's 74-day war with Argentina. October 23rd, 1983. 241 U.S. Marines and sailors are killed in a suicide truck bombing in Lebanon. October 25th, 1983. U.S. troops invade Caribbean island of Grenada after a leftist coup there. Invasion draws rare criticism from Britain's Thatcher. November 6, 1984, re-elected over former Vice President Walter Mondale in landslide. That's interesting. May 5th, 1985. Visits German military cemetery at Bitburg as a gesture of reconciliation, but incites protests because 49 of Adolf Hitler's Waffen-SS soldiers are buried there. November 19th to the 21st, 1985, summit in Geneva with Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. Reagan calls it a fresh start in U.S.-Soviet relations. April 15, 1986, U.S. warplanes bomb Tripoli and Benghazi in Libya to retaliate for the bombing of a discotheque in Berlin that killed 2 U.S. soldiers and a Turkish woman. October 11th and 12th, 1986, U.S.-Soviet summit meeting in Reykjavik, Iceland, on arms reductions and Reagan's proposed Strategic Defense Initiative, or Star Wars, missile defense system. November 1986, Iran-Contra affair becomes public. Days after Lebanese kidnappers free American hostage David Jacobson, the White House admits selling arms to Iran, but denies it sold arms for hostages. Later, Reagan announces the firing of an aide, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, and the resignation of his national security advisor, John Poindexter, and says arms for hostages was a mistake. It is disclosed that as much as $30 million in profits were diverted to Nicaraguan rebels in violation of U.S. law. December 8th through the 10th, 1987. U.S.-Soviet summit meeting in Washington. Reagan-Gorbachev signed treaty to eliminate intermediate-range nuclear forces. Disagree over Star Wars. May 29th through June 2nd, 1988. U.S.-Soviet summit in Moscow. Moscow or Moscow? Reagan-Gorbachev exchange ratified texts of INF Treaty. November 8, 1988, Reagan's Vice President George H.W. Bush defeats Massachusetts Governor Michael Dukakis for the presidency. And I remember that. I think I was in 4th grade. I was in 4th grade back then. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I had recently moved from Wisconsin to Minnesota in the 4th grade. All right. December 7th, 1988, U.S.-Soviet summit in New York City. President-elect Bush participates. January 1989, Reagan retires to California after second term. November 4th, 1991, Reagan Presidential Library dedicated in Simi Valley, California. All right. And then there's this other thing right here, this Packer thing, Green Bay Packer thing. Not sure. Do I want to read this? Might be kind of interesting. Forward thinking. In this age of free agency, when most teams aren't sure who will be their quarterback, 2, 3, or 4 years from now, the Packers will. They can rest easy through 2003 after making two-time league MVP Brett Favre the league's highest-paid player, signing him to a 7-year, $44 million extension that includes a $12 million signing bonus. Because of the signing bonus is spread out over 5 years, the team won't have to dip heavily into its $22 million reserve. It also gains salary cap room to work on contract extensions with safety Leroy Butler and Dorsey Levens. Yeah, there's more here I could read, but I try not to read everything, so I'll skip that.